On the second day of Bahrain testing, Ferrari's noble red and Charles Leclerc's unwavering confidence dominated the paddock. As the checkered flag fell for the morning session at 2 p.m, Leclerc set a 1-minute 34.273 seconds lap, the most impressive and comfortable lap of the 2026 test so far. However, the other side of the coin was a total technical nightmare. Mercedes had to perform a complete engine change on young star Kimi Antonelli before he could even complete a single lap, while Red Bull remained trapped in the garage with Sakhir due to issues described as routine but clearly carrying the scent of a hydraulic leak. Today in Sakhir, we watched Ferrari fly flawlessly on that knife-edge balance between reliability and raw speed. While the rest of the paddock was melting under the 36 degrees Celsius heat, Ferrari looked as comfortable as if they were driving on a cool spring evening. Before we dive into Leclerc's massive performance, Mercedes' nightmare morning, and Cadillac's breakdown that covered the paddock in smoke on the outlap, subscribing to the channel to follow this revolutionary process in Bahrain with me would be fantastic support. Now we begin to deconstruct the Bahrain Day 2 report in its deepest form. Charles Leclerc didn't just complete laps in Bahrain today, he delivered an engineering manifesto that says this is the right design. His lap of 1-minute 34.273 seconds was a full half-second faster than Lando Norris's benchmark from yesterday. More importantly, the lap looked incredibly natural and comfortable on track. The Ferrari SF-26 currently appears to be the most balanced and planted car in the paddock. Speaking briefly after the morning session, Leclerc said, "The data is essentially in line with the simulations. It's very encouraging." For an engineer, that is the highest form of praise. It means there is no correlation error between the simulator and the real car. What you design in the factory is exactly what you see on track. Ferrari's in-house power unit did not suffer a single hiccup despite the 36 degrees Celsius heat. Leclerc reinforced Ferrari's position as the first serious benchmark team for the 2026 title fight by completing consistent 15-lap stints. While rivals were struggling with lockups, Leclerc was slicing through turn 10 with surgical precision. This is not just raw speed. This is Ferrari mastering mechanical and electronic integration for the new era. On the Mercedes side, the morning session ended in a total organizational and technical fiasco. Young star Kimi Antonelli started his official F1 testing career with the worst-case scenario. But it certainly wasn't his fault. Just on his third lap, strange metallic noises that shook the paddock began coming from the Mercedes W17 power unit, and Antonelli had to bring the car back to the pits with a dead engine. Mercedes engineers decided on a complete engine change after their initial investigation. This is Mercedes' first major engine blow-up in Bahrain, proving how deep the concern behind Toto Wolff's Red Bull is far ahead remarks from yesterday actually was. Antonelli was trapped in the garage without completing a single lap until lunch. This reliability crisis in the Mercedes engine reminded the entire paddock once again of the massive risks inherent in 2026's ultra-complex energy recovery systems. Mercedes' king of reliability image took a heavy hit today on the hot Sakhir tarmac. After Red Bull struck fear into the paddock yesterday with 136 laps by Max Verstappen, today they saw the other, darker side of the coin. Young talent Sakhir couldn't even leave the garage in the first 2 hours of the session. Although the Red Bull team officially labeled this a routine car build and optimization process, telemetry whispers from deep within the paddock point to a serious hydraulic leak. Hadjar only managed an installation lap in the final seconds of the session. After Verstappen's flawless reliability yesterday, the routine snag the Ford-backed Red Bull engine hit today proves how much on a knife edge and sensitive the 2026 engines actually operate. Red Bull might be the favorite for 2026 with its speed and aero package, but the valuable hours Hadjar lost today show that the stones in the reliability hierarchy can be rearranged every day. Red Bull engineers are currently working feverishly in the garage, because in 2026, an hour lost is a week's worth of data lost. Just 10 minutes into the session, the shrill sound that shook the paddock followed by a red flag came from the new American giant. Sergio Perez was on his first outlap with the Cadillac chassis, when the car suddenly cut all power and sat helpless on Bahrain's dusty tarmac. This early mistake by Cadillac in Bahrain proved once again how brutal an environment the paddock is for new teams. A technical investigation revealed that extreme vibrations in the engine threw the alternator belt off, causing the electronic systems to lose all energy within seconds. Cadillac entered the paddock with a bang, but today's 10-minute failure gave General Motors engineers a harsh lesson in the ferocious character of 2026 engines and how vital vibration damping management is. Perez managed very few laps for the rest of the session, and Cadillac ended the day with the title of most repaired car. The Americans' F1 dream hit a hard wall of Bahraini physics today. On the Aston Martin side, the Honda nightmare that started yesterday continued at full throttle today. Fernando Alonso was once again one of the drivers with the fewest laps and the unhappiest faces throughout the morning session. We were talking about Adrian Newey's aero genius at that glittering AMR26 launch in Silverstone, but today in Bahrain, the talk is about the failure of the Honda engine and gearbox to synchronize. That jolt and lag during gear shifts causes the car to constantly lock up tires at critical points like turn 10 and leads to a loss of stability. The Honda engine may look very ambitious in terms of raw power for 2026, but the way Aston Martin transfers this massive power to the chassis has currently become a complete gremlin nest. The tense and impatient expression under Alonso's helmet was the clearest summary of how Lawrence Stroll's super team dreams are undergoing an arduous test on Bahrain's hot tarmac. As the morning session comes to an end, a very clear and chilling technical picture is emerging: heat and vibration. With thermometers in Sakhir climbing to 36 degrees Celsius, the enormous cooling demands of the new 2026 power units have forced every team to open up radical cooling inlets in their aero packages. Efficiency is being sacrificed in the name of survival. The vibrations that snapped Cadillac's alternator belt are not just minor issues, they are the hidden and potentially most dangerous enemy of this entire new generation. Right now, Ferrari appears to be the most refined team in the paddock when it comes to damping these vibration harmonics. That is exactly why Leclerc is able to produce such smooth, fluid laps without fighting the car. On the other hand, the fact that even giants like Mercedes and Red Bull are struggling with what look like routine vibration issues but are actually deep-rooted engineering challenges shows something very important. The 2026 championship will not be won by raw speed alone. It will be won by reliability engineering. Drivers are no longer just controlling a car, they are managing a high-performance power plant that constantly operates on the edge of failure. Leclerc may be flying in Bahrain today, but over the long marathon of the 2026 season, the real question remains: whose engine will stay solid until the final race? That is still the paddock's greatest technical mystery. As the morning session of Day 2 of Bahrain testing comes to an end, Ferrari's message to the paddock and its rivals is crystal clear: we are ready, and we are coming. Charles Leclerc's lap of 1 minute 34.273 seconds proved beyond doubt that the SF-26 looks several steps ahead of its rivals in both raw speed and short-run stability. More importantly, the lap didn't just look fast, it looked controlled, planted, and repeatable. And that may be the most dangerous signal of all. This morning session, where Mercedes was shaken by an engine change, Red Bull lost valuable track time in the garage due to a hydraulic leak, and Cadillac broke down within the first 10 minutes, has been the strongest preview yet of just how brutal and unpredictable the 2026 revolution will be. Reliability is already separating contenders from pretenders, and we are only on Day 2. The new power units, the complex ERS systems, and the aggressive packaging philosophy are clearly pushing every team to the absolute limit. So in your opinion, does Leclerc's benchmark performance trigger real concern inside Mercedes and Red Bull? Or is this simply the calm before a massive technical counterattack in the afternoon sessions? Will the giants respond with hidden engine modes and lighter fuel runs? And what about Cadillac? Can they solve their vibration issues quickly enough to protect American pride and avoid becoming the early headline for the wrong reasons? Let's break down our Bahrain Day 2 report and Ferrari's apparent flight in depth in the comments. I will continue analyzing every piece of leaked data, every sector time, and every onboard clue as they emerge. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to catch the freshest paddock news and 2026 leaks. And as always, I wish you safe, stable, and fastest exits from the pit at all times.